Hey there everybody and welcome. Today I'm going to be presenting a tutorial on full 3-player playthrough of Dune Imperium, designed by Paul Drennen. This video is going to be divided into two halves. Before the playthrough, for those of you who are not familiar with the game, I'm going to spend time covering the rules in some level of detail. Therefore, I'll have a note up on the screen, I promise, for those of you who would like to skip the tutorial and proceed directly to the playthrough. For purposes of the tutorial, which is about to start up, I will at least get the main game board up on the screen. Regarding my commentary and the play-by-play throughout the playthrough, let me just say up front that I don't claim to be an expert in this game, but I am familiar with it enough, I think, to provide you with some ideas for the kinds of decisions you'll have to make when playing the game. That said, if you're watching the video and you do consider yourself an expert in the game, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section as to what you think I may have done right, what I may have done wrong, what I might have done differently, whatever your thoughts are. But I've tried to cover as many of the different ramifications as I could possibly think of. As always, I'm using a program that I wrote to play the game in this video, which is going to ensure no mistakes are made and I don't miss or overlook anything, especially with the scoring. You won't miss a thing. There's no camera pulled back too far for you to make out exactly what's happening. If you like what you see, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Look over some of the other 80 or so board gaming videos I've created over the years. First thing I want to say about this game right up front is that you do not have to be a fan or even a reader of the Frank Herbert classics to enjoy Dune Imperium. I'm going to admit that I never read any of the Dune series, though I have participated in one play of the 2019 board game called Dune, which really has nothing at all to do and is nothing at all like Dune Imperium. Truth is, I wasn't a fan of 2019 Dune, but I've really come to love Dune Imperium, and as it turns out, my appreciation for the game has caused me to actually start reading the first book in the series. The goal of Dune Imperium is to be the first player to amass 10 victory points, or have the most points at the end of 10 rounds of play, whichever comes first. The player's leaders provide them with two special abilities to make them somewhat asymmetric for the game. One passive ability that is always usable, and one ability that can be used whenever they play a particular card from their hand. I'm sure you know this game is a deck builder in which all players start with the same 10 cards, but over the course of the game, players may trash cards from their deck and will most certainly add lots of other cards to their decks, such that each player's deck is going to be quite different from the next by the end of the game. The key in this game, of course, or any deck builder for that matter, is to build a deck that works well in tandem, in this case with your leader's special abilities, or at least favors the type of strategy that you've adopted for the game. Each player is going to start out with a hand of 5 cards and 2 agents, as shown here, used to take various worker placement actions. At some point in the game, it's possible to acquire a third agent that you can use. In order to send an agent to a particular region of the board, you have to have a card in your hand that you can play that depicts the icon representing that particular region. So it's possible you may not even have a card in your hand that would allow you to send an agent to a particular board space. Eventually, after you've placed all your agents, or possibly even before you've placed all your agents, you'll perform what's called a reveal turn, at which point you will reveal the cards that remain in your hand. Not only does each card depict one or more icons that indicate where you can possibly send an agent, the cards also contain an agent box that indicates things that happen or might happen when you play the card and send an agent to a location. And they also contain a reveal box that indicates things that'll happen if instead you play the card during your reveal turn. So much of what separates a winner from a loser in this game is figuring out which and how many of your cards to play for agent turns, which and how many to play for your reveal turn, and then, of course, not to mention constructing a deck that's going to serve you well. Most cards you reveal during your reveal turn will provide an amount of persuasion and or an amount of combat strength. You're going to be spending persuasion to buy better cards on display in order to add them to your discard pile and eventually to your deck. And you might use the combat strength to compete in the single conflict that occurs at the end of every round of play. The rewards of coming in first or second or third in a four-player game are shown on the conflict card, revealed at the start of each round, so you'll know to what extent you might want to build up your troop presence and therefore your combat strength when it comes time for the big battle at the end of each round. Players are also going to be competing for influence with each of the four factions. Gaining influence with a faction can provide you with one or two of those 10 victory points that you need to win, and can also be a source of other rewards as you climb the track. Victory points you earn from something like a conflict or a certain card are yours to keep, but victory points you might gain from your influence with a faction are not necessarily permanent. Should another player rise higher than you on a faction's influence track, or if something causes you to lose influence with that faction, you could possibly lose a point that you previously gained with that faction. The cards I referred to just a moment ago are called intrigue cards. You may pick these up along the way, and they might provide you with a special benefit during the game, or a benefit during the conflict resolution, the combat. They might also provide you with a benefit at the end of the game. There are three categories of intrigue cards. The plot cards are the ones you play during either your agent turn or your reveal turn. The combat cards are the ones you might play during the combat phase, and the endgame cards are the ones that you would hold on to until the end of the game. The resources in the game are Solari, the game's currency or coinage, water, which actually can be quite hard to find on Dune because it's a desert planet after all, and finally, the spice melange, which is a highly valued drug-like resource. It's found only in the deserts. Now, I suppose you can think of cards as a resource as well, because drawing cards into your hand often means having more persuasion during your reveal turn, possibly more combat strength, other benefits that might occur, and so forth. So think of the resources as water, shown here, Solari, spice, and the number of cards you're holding in your hand. As for the conflict card, shown up here at the start of round 1, the game comes with 18 different conflict cards, 4 level 1s, 10 level 2s, and 4 level 3s. The 10-card conflict deck which you play with counts out the 10 rounds of the game, and it consists of 1 randomly drawn level 1 conflict on top, 5 randomly drawn level 2 conflicts below that, and then all 4 level 3 conflicts pre-shuffled and placed on the bottom of that deck. So that should give you enough of an overview to understand what's happening. But before beginning the playthrough, let me walk you through the various locations and rewards you'll be considering as the game plays out. All of these locations are generally first come, first served. Once someone places an agent at a location, no other agent may be assigned there that round unless some special effect states otherwise. Up here we have the Landsraad locations, which for the most part cost Solari to visit. The icon for Landsraad is this green hexagon. In this corner we have the High Council. It costs 5 Solari to visit this location, and you can only do so once per game. Once you do, you would claim a seat on the High Council by putting your disc in one of these circles. It doesn't really matter which one. This provides you with an extra 2 persuasion that you can spend during your reveal turn when you're buying new cards for your deck. That 2 persuasion lasts the whole game. Over here we have the Hall of Oratory. This location is actually free to use. It allows you to recruit one troop into your garrison from your player board, and it provides you with one extra persuasion to spend in your reveal turn that round only, unlike the High Council, which is 2 extra persuasion for the rest of the game. For the most part, troops start out on your leaderboard, then get moved to your garrison, and from there they may be subsequently deployed to the conflict in the center. Should you return troops from the conflict back to your garrison, that's called retreating troops. And should they ever return to your player board, that's referred to as losing troops. The Mentat location costs 2 Solari and lets you draw a card and provides you with temporary access to the Mentat, an extra agent. It's kind of like a robot or a Mr. Spock type character. You can have that Mentat at your disposal for that current round only from the point in which you acquire it. Now, since this is costing you 2 Solari and you're effectively playing a card and spending an agent to just draw a new card and gain use of another agent, it sounds like a wash, but there are times when it could definitely come in handy. You just have to be careful that you're visiting this location for the right reasons. You have to spend 4 Solari if you want to rally troops. If you do, you can recruit 4 troops from your player board to your garrison. And lastly, over here we have the Swordmaster, another space you can only visit once per game. It costs you 8 Solari to come here, but it does grant you the use of your 3rd agent immediately and for the remainder of the game. Next, we're going to take a look at the spice trade locations represented by a yellow or orange-looking triangle. Here we have the Sell Melange location. It's where you come to convert spice into money, or Solari, that is. You can exchange 2, 3, 4, or 5 spice for 6, 8, 10, or 12 Solari, respectively. Only a single trade. You can't perform multiple trades. The secure contract location is easy. Send an agent here, and it simply provides you with 3 Solari. Down here we have the Imperial Basin, the first of 3 spice harvesting locations. It's free to visit here, and you harvest or gain 1 spice, plus any additional spice that might have been added to this location over the course of the game. We'll see how that might happen later on. At Hagga Basin, you might, as you delve deeper into the desert, you have to spend 1 water to gain 2 spice, plus any amount that might have accumulated there since someone last sent an agent. And then finally, the Great Flat, where you have to spend 2 water to gain 3 spice, plus some extra spice, possibly. Note that these locations look different than the ones we've seen at the top of the board. These all sport an image of the Arrakeen Desert or the Dune Desert and have a double sword icon in the bottom right corner, as you can see here. Whenever you visit a location like this, one that has an image of the desert and the double sword icon that come together, you can deploy into battle up to 2 troops plus the number of troops you may have recruited that turn. This is the prime way that you funnel troops from your garrison to the combat location in the center of the board. You can see that the same 2 swords are depicted here between the circular garrisons that surround it. As you can see, each player starts the game with 3 troops already recruited into their garrison. Each player also has 9 other troops sitting on their player boards waiting to be recruited at the appropriate time. Now we'll consider the city locations, or the population centers, represented by a purple circle icon. This is Arrakeen, the capital city of Arrakis, Dune. You can place an agent here to recruit 1 troop and draw a card into your hand. That's what these icons represent. And because it's a combat location, as indicated by the desert image and the double swords, you can deploy up to 3 troops into the conflict after recruiting the troop and drawing the card. Remember, you can always deploy to the conflict whatever troops you recruited during your turn, plus 2 more. But of course, ultimately, you're limited by the number of total troops actually sitting in your garrison. If you visit a combat location during a turn in which you recruited 0 troops, you can still deploy 2 troops. 2 plus 0 is 2 after all. That's assuming you have them in your garrison. This will all become much more clear once the playthrough gets underway. If you visit the city of Carthag, or Carthage, I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that one, there you can recruit 1 troop and draw an intrigue card. That's the icon for an intrigue card. And then possibly, of course, you can deploy troops because it's a combat location. Regarding the banners that are under these locations and under the Imperial Basin, later on, there's going to be conflicts that award control over these locations. When any player sends an agent to a location that's controlled by a particular player, the player who controls that location gains what's shown, be it 1 Solari, in this case, of Arrakeen and Carthage, or 1 spice in the case of the Imperial Basin. A player who controls a city can even send an agent of their own to that city and still gain the reward for having control over that city. At the research station, pay 2 water to draw 3 cards into your hand, and of course possibly deploy. At Sietch Tabr, recruit 1 troop and gain 1 water, and again you have the option to deploy. However, Sietch Tabr is a unique location on the board, and then you must have at least 2 influence with the Fremen faction down here if you want to send an agent here. That's indicated by this, you can barely see it, but it's right here. And of course my program's not going to let a player go here unless they have that 2 influence with the Fremen. Finally, we have the faction locations themselves along the left edge of the board. Anytime you send an agent to a faction location, you will not only resolve the location itself, but you automatically gain 1 influence with that faction. Each faction has 2 locations associated with it, one that has a cost and one that's free to use. We're going to start with the Emperor's faction, whose icon looks like this. At Conspire, you have to pay 4 spice, and in return you can gain 5 Solari, recruit 2 troops, and you can draw 1 intrigue card. Of course, this is not a combat location, so you can't deploy those troops after recruiting them. At Wealth, it's free to use. You simply gain 2 Solari, of course, along with the increase in influence of the Emperor's track that you get, regardless of which of these locations you visit. Anytime a player achieves 2 influence with any faction, they score 1 victory point, as shown here. So the track starts here. This would be 1 step. Here's the 2nd step, and at the 2nd step, you always score 1 victory point. If you subsequently fall below 2 influence on that track, you're going to lose the victory point. When any player achieves 4 influence with the Emperor, they gain a non-refundable benefit or reward of 2 troop recruitments, meaning that if they later fall below the 4th step, they don't lose that award. And in fact, should they subsequently re-achieve 4 influence, they get that award again. In practice, that's not going to happen very often at all, however. Also, the first person to reach 4 influence with any faction establishes an alliance with that faction and scores another victory point. That's why the 4th step and the 5th step and the 6th step are shown in this darker sand color to indicate that as soon as you get into that section of the track, you can establish an alliance with the faction. You would take the alliance token from the track and put it in your player area. However, should another player come along and rise higher than you, if you have the alliance on the influence track, then they're going to take over the alliance, score the point, and then you in turn lose the point for losing the alliance. So all those rules apply to all the factions. At the Spacing Guild, the Heighliner location lets you spend 6 spice in exchange for 5 recruits and 2 water. And as usual, you can deploy as many as 7 troops, 5 plus 2, to the conflict because this is a combat location. Though once again, the number you can deploy is the total number of troops you recruited that turn, plus 2, or whatever happens to be in your garrison, whichever is lower. It's possible you may recruit troops during your turn in other ways, for example, from a card effect. You can go to Foldspace for free to acquire a Foldspace card from the reserve supply. A Foldspace card is a special card you can play one time during your turn to send an agent to any location on the board. You see, the Spacing Guild in the Dune universe is an expert at folding space for transporting you vast distances without even moving. Once the Foldspace card makes its way into your hand and you play it, you're then forced to trash it, at which time it's returned to the Foldspace stack. There are 6 Foldspace cards in the game, so once all 6 of them are either sitting in players' hands or decks, then you could come to Foldspace for the influence, but you're not going to get a Foldspace card at that point because there won't be any to take. However, that doesn't happen very frequently, if at all. Next, we have the Bene Gesserit faction. At Selective Breeding, you pay 2 spice, and you can optionally trash 1 card and then draw 2 new cards into your hand. Let's be clear here. You pay 2 spice to send an agent to the location, at which time you gain 1 influence with the Bene Gesserit, and then, if and only if you want to actually trash a card in return, you can draw 2 or more cards from your deck into your hand. Anytime you trash a card in the game, the card you trash can either come from your hand, from the cards you've played so far this round, which are face up in front of you, or from your discard pile, which is also face up in front of you. Any card you trash either returns to the game box, or if it's one of the 3 special reserve cards that are stored in the supply, in that case, it returns to that reserve supply stack. The Foldspace is an example of one of those 3 special reserve cards. So remember, when you take a Foldspace card and you later play it and trash it, it just goes back to the Foldspace deck. We're going to look at the other 2 reserve cards soon enough. If you send an agent to Secrets, you draw an intrigue card, and then any player who is holding 4 or more intrigue cards in their hand have to give you one of them, chosen at random. This discourages players from hoarding intrigue cards. Finally, down here we have the Fremen. At Hardy Warriors, pay 1 water, recruit 2 troops, and then deploy if you wish, because both Fremen locations are combat locations. At Stillsuits, gain 1 water and deploy up to 2 troops if you wish, because it is a combat location. Again, you might be able to deploy more than 2 troops if you also recruited that turn via other means. In the same way that you recruit 2 troops when you reach the 4th step of the Emperor track, you gain 3 Solari if you reach the 4th step of the Spacing Guild track. You gain an intrigue card if you reach the 4th step of the Bene Gesserit, and you gain 1 water if you reach the 4th space of the Fremen track. Again, one more reminder, anytime you send an agent to a faction location, you automatically gain 1 influence with that faction over and above any of the benefits you received that turn. So today's playthrough, as I said, are going to bring together the blue player, the red player, and the green player. Now each player is assigned a somewhat asymmetric leader in the game. When choosing leaders, you can have players draft them, have them assigned randomly, or use any other means you wish, including even having players agree on which leader each player is going to start with. For this game, my program has assigned leaders randomly. As you can see here, blue is playing the Countess Ariana Thorvald. Her passive ability is that she is a spice addict. Anytime she harvests a spice, she gains 1 less and draws a card into her hand. Furthermore, anytime she plays her special Signet ring card, she gains 1 water. So this is her passive ability, and this is her signet ring ability. Red player is playing Hagga Richese, or Richese. I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce that. Heighliner has eyes everywhere. Enemy agents don't block her agents at the Landsraad or city center locations. Remember, that's the green hexagon up here and the purple circle locations here. Her signet ring ability is manipulate. When she plays her signet ring, she could look at the Imperium Row, which we'll examine in a second, and she may remove and set aside one of those cards from the Imperium Row, replacing it immediately. And then during her reveal turn, she may acquire that card she removed and set aside for one less persuasion. That is the symbol for persuasion, a blue diamond with a number inside of it. Lastly, the green player is playing Duke Leto Atreides from the House of Atreides. He has Landsraad popularity. Sending an agent to a Landsraad board space costs you 1 Solari less than you would normally have to spend. And his signet ring ability is Prudent Diplomacy. Spend 1 spice, gain 1 influence with a faction where an opponent has more influence than you. Incidentally, back at Helena, with regard to manipulate, if she sets aside a card and then during a reveal turn she decides she doesn't want it even for 1 persuasion less, then it's removed from the game. As you can see over here, each player starts with 1 water, no Solari, and no spice. And of course, the 3 troops recruited into their garrison, as I already mentioned earlier. Each player also starts the game with the same 10-card deck exactly. Players shuffle their decks and draw 5 cards into their hand for the first round. As I mentioned, at the start of each round, the conflict card for that round is revealed. In this case, it looks as though the player who wins the combat at the end of this round is going to score 1 point, and the player who comes in second is going to gain 1 water. Third space only applies to a 4-player game, unless 2 players in this game tie for second place, in which case they each would receive the 3rd place award. As promised, before we actually begin, let's take a quick look at the Imperium Row and the other cards that are on display. So this is the stack of 6 Foldspace cards that you start the game with. I spoke about that earlier. The only way to get a card from the Foldspace stack is to go over here to the Foldspace board location in the Spacing Guild. These are the other 2 reserve stacks, a stack of 8 Arrakeen liaison cards and a stack of 10 identical The Spice Must Flow cards. Players can acquire these cards over the course of the game until the stack runs out. Then we have the Imperium Row, 5 cards drawn randomly from a shuffled Imperium deck that consists of, I think, 67 cards. Anytime a player purchases one of these cards in the Imperium Row, it is immediately replaced by a new card drawn from the deck. The amount of persuasion the player has to pay to purchase any of these cards is shown in the top right corner. 3, 4 persuasion, 4, 3, and 1 in this case. And for Arrakeen Liaison, 2 persuasion, and for the Spice Must Flow, which gives you a point as soon as you acquire it, you have to pay 9 persuasion for that. We'll examine all these cards in more detail when players begin to take their reveal turns. All right, we're ready to go. So blue was randomly chosen to go first. The start player is going to rotate clockwise at the completion of each round, by the way. As you can see, the Countess receives a benefit when harvesting spice in the desert. And as you can see, blue has only 1 card in her hand with a yellow triangle that permits sending an agent to a spice trade location. Like every other player in the game, at the game's start, blue has 1 water on hand. So let's play this card face up in front of us, the Dune, the desert planet. And that means, of course, we're going to have one fewer persuasion to spend during our reveal turn, because now we're playing this card during an agent turn, and so it's not going to be there when we play our reveal turn. We're going to send one of our agents to Hagga Basin. Costs 1 water to go there, and normally you would gain 2 spice, but of course, because this is Countess Ariana Thorvald, we're only going to gain 1 spice and draw a card in place of the second one. So we paid our water, we gained our spice, and we drew diplomacy into our hand. Now, because this is a combat location, we didn't recruit any troops, but we do have 3 troops in our garrison. So the card we drew was diplomacy, and now you see we only have 4 cards remaining in our deck. And Dune, the desert planet, is sitting face up in our in-play area in front of us. So this card is in play and will remain in play until the end of the round, just sort of keeping a record of what cards we've played so far this round. We also gained the 1 spice, and because this is a combat location, we didn't recruit any troops this turn, but we can always deploy 2 plus the number of troops we did recruit, and so we can recruit 0, 1, or 2 troops to the conflict. Well, considering that a point is up for grabs, I think that Ariana will deploy 2 troops to the conflict, which means 2 troops are going to leave her garrison and go into the center of the board. You'll see how the combat works out once we get to the combat phase after everyone's reveal turn. That's going to end Blue's turn. Let's move to Helena's turn. You can see that she has some of the same cards in her hand that Blue had, but Red also has access to her Signet ring, which lets her set aside a card from the Imperium Row, remember, and buy it at a 1 persuasion discount later on. Let's see, what might she want to set aside if she could? A Smuggler's Thopter might be a good choice, or possibly Firm Grip. Okay, I think Helena is going to focus on amassing some amount of Solari for now, so probably Firm Grip would be a good choice, because she can then convert 2 of that Solari when she plays Firm Grip and increase her influence in any one of these 3 factions, which is what these icons represent. We are going to play the Signet ring card face up in front of us. Now that allows us to go to Landsraad, a city, or a spice trade location. Let's send an agent, well, since she wants Solari, let's send an agent to secure contract and gain 3 Solari. So now her manipulate ability has kicked in, and she is going to set aside Firm Grip. Got replaced by the Voice. Just like the Countess, the card she played, Signet Ring, is sitting face up in her play area. Okay, and that turn, and now it is the Duke's turn. Now remember, his ability is that he gets a 1 Solari discount in Landsraad, but considering that he's broke, that's not going to help him much at the moment. He might very well have chosen secure contract if Red didn't go there. So as an alternative, he's going to visit Wealth at the Emperor to gain 1 influence there along with 2 Solari. He has 1 card that he can play in his hand that permits a visit to a faction, and that's Diplomacy. You can see that it allows a visit to any one of the 4 factions. We're going to play that card face up, and we're going to send an agent to Wealth, and he'll gain 2 Solari and move his marker 1 space up on the Emperor's track. All right, we're back to the Countess Ariana. So far, she's uncontested in the conflict with her 2 troops, but considering that every player has 1 more turn before revealing, it's questionable if that's going to last. I think she's going to visit the Fremen because they have a tight grip on the water supply. She's going to go to Stillsuits to gain 1 water. Now she can do so by playing either Diplomacy over here or Seek Allies over here. Now Diplomacy is worth 1 persuasion if she holds on to it. Seek Allies gets trashed immediately, as you can see from the larger image in the corner. So if she plays Seek Allies, she gets 1 shot at using it to send an agent to one of the 4 factions. She is going to play Seek Allies, and she's going to send an agent to Stillsuits with the Fremen and gain 1 water. Her Seek Allies card was played in front of her, but now it's gone and trashed from the game. She also gained 1 influence with a Fremen, and since Stillsuits is a combat location, she can now deploy 1 more troop to the conflict if she wants to. Now, normally, remember, that would be 2 troops because she didn't recruit any that turn, but she only has 1 troop in her garrison, so she's limited to that 1 troop. Well, nobody else has deployed any troops, but this is her last turn until the combat phase. So she will stake her claim, and she will send that 1 troop into battle. So now she has 3 troops in the combat. Helena has to make a move now if she wants to fight for that victory point. If she pays 1 water at hardy warriors down here with the Fremen, she can recruit 2 troops and therefore deploy as many as 4. She doesn't know what Blue has in her hand that might boost her combat strength beyond the 3 troops that she already deployed, but Helena feels that she has a pretty decent shot at getting that victory point with a commitment of 4 troops. She also knows that Green probably can't do much about it because there are no other locations available that Green can afford, I think, where he can recruit a minimum of 2 troops and therefore deploy at least 4 to compete with her. By the way, everything in this game is, for the most part, public knowledge, aside from the cards that are in your hand and the intrigue cards that you're holding in secret. Furthermore, Helena knows that if she plays Diplomacy to visit the Fremen, she's going to be left with 4 persuasion in her hand, which is more than enough to purchase firm grip, which she set aside earlier. So she is going to play Diplomacy and send her remaining agent to hardy warriors, pay a water, recruit 2 troops. That means 2 more troops go into her garrison from her player board. And now she can deploy 0 to 4 troops into combat. She's going to deploy all 4 troops. She is making her stand. Green's aware that there's little he can do at the moment as far as the battle's concerned, but he's not overly concerned as the game's still young. If he plays his dagger this turn, that would allow him to go to the Landsraad location. He could go to the Hall of Oratory. He'd be left with 5 persuasion in his hand, along with 1 persuasion that the Hall of Oratory offers as a benefit. And that's going to provide him with plenty of buying options during his reveal turn. So that's what he's going to do. Note, by the way, the sword in the reveal box at the bottom of Dagger. During the conflict, each of your troops in combat, each of these cubes, provides you with 2 combat strength. And each sword on cards that you reveal in your hand during your reveal turn provide 1 additional combat strength. Of course, none of that matters to Leto because he's not heading into battle this round. So he's playing Dagger, sending an agent to Hall of Oratory, where he can recruit a troop into his garrison. He can't deploy it, and now he has 1 extra persuasion available to him during his reveal turn. Also, he's going to have plenty of troops on hand in his garrison to deploy next round if he so desires. Okay, we're going to turn this over to Blue, who is, yes, having her reveal turn. So now she turns all the cards face up in her hand and shows everyone that she has 1, 2, 4, 6 persuasion to spend when it comes to buying cards from the display. She's also going to have 6 combat strength, 2 for each of her 3 troops in battle. So let me unpause. All these cards are now turned up and put in the in-play area. Now, when you're actually playing the game, you should keep the cards that you played during your agent turns separate from the cards you revealed during a reveal turn, in case there's any question about the amount of persuasion you generated or any other effects that might occur that are shown on the reveal boxes of those revealed cards. Okay, 6 persuasion to spend. The voice is nice because it allows you to block opponents' access to a location for 1 set of turns. It's also good for 2 persuasion, and it only costs 2 persuasion to buy. The count is not limited to the number of cards she can buy. She's only limited to the fact that she has 6 persuasion to spend. So she's going to start by spending 2 of that 6 persuasion on the voice, and then she gets to see what card takes its place in case it's something that interests her. Okay, well, Sardaukar Legion came out. That costs 5. That's beyond her means. Notice that, by the way, that the voice that she acquired goes directly into her discard pile. That's a hard and fast rule. All cards you acquire go into the discard pile, again, unless some special card effect says otherwise. So she has 4 persuasion left to spend, and I think she's going to get Smuggler's Thopter. Because she has a benefit. Her ability kicks in when she harvests spice. Getting this additional spice from Smuggler's Thopter during the reveal turn would be nice for her. So we're going to take that. She's out of persuasion to spend, and it is now Red's reveal turn. And I wasn't quite fast enough, but it looks like she has 4 persuasion to spend. Now, her combat strength is 8, 2, 4, 6, 8, 2 for each of her troops. None of the cards that she revealed had any swords on them. She didn't have any daggers. So far it's looking as though Helena is going to win this combat. Now the question is, remember she set aside firm grip earlier. She can buy it for 3 persuasion if she wants to. Let me take another quick peek at the display. Well, she does have some interest in assassination mission, especially because you gain 4 Solari when you trash that card. She's trying to capitalize on Solari. She'll have 1 persuasion left over to buy that if she wants after buying firm grip for 3. So she's in good shape. So yes, she will buy firm grip for 3. Goes into her discard pile. She has 1 persuasion left. She's going to use it to buy assassination mission. Green's reveal turn. He's got 2, 4, 1, or 5 persuasion to spend. Of course, he didn't have any troops in battle at all, so he's not even up for any of the awards. So with his 6 persuasion, what might he be interested in acquiring? He likes any number of these cards. I think he is going to spring for Sardaukar Legion for 5 persuasion. It's going to provide a boost to his future troop strength and give him an in with the Emperor, where he already has 1 influence. And with his remaining 1 persuasion, he actually has a choice between Dr. Yua and Missionaria Protectiva. They're both city center cards. See the purple circle icon. Between the two, I think the Duke prefers. I think the traitorous doctor offers the Duke a little more flexibility. In the book, well, I'm probably giving away a spoiler, but Dr. Yua is not such a good guy. He's going to purchase Dr. Yua. Now that everyone's completed their reveal turns, it's time for the combat phase. Now at this point, everyone's cards are on the table. It's pretty clear who's leading in combat strength. Beginning with the start player and moving clockwise around the table, players now can optionally play intrigue combat cards that they might be holding that might impact the results of the battle. At this point, however, no players have any intrigue cards in their hands, so combat is really officially over and the conflict has been decided. Red wins with 8 combat strength and is going to score 1 point. And Blue came in second with 6 combat strength, and that's going to gain her 1 water. There's the point for Red and the water for Blue. And now there's a Maker's phase. During the Maker's phase, any harvesting space that does not have any agent on it has 1 spice added to its location, thus increasing its harvesting value in future rounds and making the location more enticing. So both Imperial Basin and the Great Flat are going to receive 1 extra spice, but because the Countess has one of her agents at Hagga Basin, that's not going to get an additional spice added to its maker space. Okay, after that, each player is going to move all of the cards in play over to their discard pile. They're going to draw a new hand of 5 cards. They're going to get all of their agents back. And by the way, as with any deck builder, anytime you have to draw a card and your deck's empty, you simply shuffle your discard pile and then continue drawing. All right, it's round 2, and this time a new conflict card's been revealed, the Siege of Carthage. I think I'm going to stick with that pronunciation because it rolls more comfortably off my tongue. First place in this conflict is also going to score a victory point and control of the city of Carthage. That's going to allow you to put your player banner in the control space under Carthage. Remember, that means that if you or any player ever comes to Carthage and you have control of Carthage, you're going to gain 1 Solari, even if you send your own agent there. Helena is now the new start player for round 2. And you can now see the other 5 cards that make up the 10-card starting deck. There's the Signet ring that you saw earlier, Diplomacy, which you saw earlier, Reconnaissance, I think, showed up, and Seek Allies, and this happens to be Helena's Seek Allies, which came up. And along with those 4, there's 2 convincing argument cards. Here's one of them over here. There are 2 Dune, the Desert Planet cards. There's one of them right there. And then finally 2 dagger cards right here. So if Helena enters the conflict and doesn't play any of these dagger cards during her agent turns, she will have 2 extra combat strength to use during in the combat phase. Well, as much as Helena would like to recruit some more troops, I think she's going to grab the spice at the Imperial Basin. So she's going to play Dune, the Desert Planet. That gives her access to a spice trade location. She's going to send an agent to the Imperial Basin. She'll collect 1 spice. I take that back. She sent an agent to Imperial Basin, and she collected 2 spice, the basic 1 spice plus the 1 that was there in the maker space. And because she has 1 troop in her garrison, and this is a combat space, she could deploy that 1 troop if she wants to, and you bet she does for that 1 point. Okay, Duke Leto Atreides has a number of different options here. So remember, his Signet Ring ability is that he can pay a spice, gain one influence with a faction where an opponent has more influence than you do. Fortunately, he doesn't have any spice to pay, but at least not yet. He's going to play his Signet Ring. I don't know. And he's going to send an agent, because he has one water, to Hagga Basin, where he's going to collect 2 spice and then use one of that spice to pay for his Signet Ring ability, and then he's going to be able to gain influence in one location where he's behind, and that would be the Fremen. Pays his water, gains 2 spice. He has the option to pay the 1 spice to gain the influence with the Fremen. He does. That card goes into play, into his in-play area. It was a combat space, so he can deploy up to 2 troops, and he will deploy 2 troops. Fortunately, he had those troops in his garrison ready to go. The Countess, well, she wouldn't mind going to the Great Flat, but she really would like to enter the combat as well, the conflict as well, especially with 2 daggers in her hand. She wasn't really paying attention to how many daggers were played by other players last round. She's going to play diplomacy and go to Hardy Warriors, which is going to allow her to recruit and deploy up to 2 troops. She's also going to get another influence with the Fremen and score a victory point because she reached the 2nd step. So she is now on the board along with Helena, who won the point at the end of last round during the combat phase. She's going to deploy both troops. And now we have all 3 players vying for that victory point. All right, back to Helena. Helena sees that she has 2 daggers in her hand, and she too didn't pay attention to the daggers revealed in round 1 by other players. Boy, she'd like to go to Arrakeen so she could recruit at least 1 troop. But unfortunately, she doesn't have a card that allows her to go to Arrakeen. She has Seek Allies. She could go to Stillsuits and gain the water. No, she's not going to have she won't have any troops. But it would score her a point as well, getting to the 2nd step. Yeah, I think that's what she's going to do. So she is going to play Seek Allies and go to Stillsuits to gain 1 water and 1 victory point from getting to the 2nd step of the Fremen track. I think the moral here is to pay attention to what cards your opponents play in round 1 during the reveal turn and during their agent turns, so you know how many dagger cards they're holding in round 2 as far as the conflict is concerned. Anyway, Helena's score now stands at 2. Okay, it's the Duke's turn. He would really like to win this conflict. He's got 2 troops in there. He's in the best position possibly to do it, especially because he has more troops in his garrison. He has 1 dagger in his hand for 1 combat strength. He's going to play Reconnaissance and visit Carthage for that 1 troop. He will also draw an Intrigue card. He drew Poison Snooper, which allows you to look at the top card of your deck, draw it, or trash it. His deck is empty, actually, so Poison Snooper is of no use. It doesn't allow you to shuffle your discard piles and then peek at the top of your deck. He's just going to have to wait until next turn when he has cards in his deck again. Question is, what are the fewest number of troops he can get away with to win the conflict? This is almost like a poker game. He has one dagger in his hand. He just doesn't know what blue holds in her hand. He's going to commit 2 troops and hope that's enough. That's going to be a total of 8 combat strength from his 4 troops and 1 extra combat strength from his dagger for a total of 9 combat strength. But we won't. But players won't know that until, of course, his reveal turn. Okay, it's now Blue's turn. So the Countess is currently sitting at 6 combat strength. 2 per each of her cubes is 4 plus her 2 daggers. Again, she doesn't remember what green revealed last turn, doesn't think it was 2 daggers. She figures chances are he's probably holding 1 dagger and may even draw a combat intrigue card when he drew that intrigue card. He could play that, and that would force a win during the combat phase. I think she's just going to stick with the 2 troops she has. So then maybe she should use her signet ring to gain a water, and we can send her agent to the Great Flat. Now, right now she only has 1 water, but she's going to gain a water because of her signet ring ability, so then she'll have the 2 water to pay for the Great Flat, and then she'll gain 3 spice, and instead of that extra spice, she'll draw a card because of her spice addict ability. So when you resolve these abilities, you can resolve them in any order you want, the one that makes the most sense. She resolves Signet Ring, gains a water. She resolves the Great Flat, pays the 2 water, gains the 3 spice, and draws the voice into her hand. Probably not the best time to draw the voice, but at least it is worth 2 persuasion. Okay, so it's Red Reveal's turn. Again, I'm going to pause just so that you can see what's happening. She's got 1 card with 2 persuasion on it and 2 cards with 2 daggers on it. So those daggers affect her combat strength, and now she has a total of 4 combat strength, 2 from the 2 daggers and 2 from the troop in the center of the board. She only has 2 persuasion to spend, so effectively she's choosing between Arrakis Liaison and Arrakis Recruiter. Now this one offers 1 persuasion and 1 combat strength, and this one offers 2 persuasion. I think she's going to take the Liaison. Add that to her discard pile. She's now out of persuasion, and it's Green Reveal's turn. So he's got Seek Allies, which he never played, so it'll just go back into his discard pile eventually, but it has no persuasion. He's going to get 1 persuasion from Dune, the desert planet, and 1 combat strength from the dagger. So green has an overwhelming amount of 9 combat strength, 2, 4, 6, 8, plus the 1 from his dagger. Unfortunately, he only has 1 persuasion to spend. Should he bother buying Missionaria Protectiva? So you can see that its agent effect is if you have another Bene Gesserit card in play, then you can increase your influence with any one of the 4 factions. Maybe he'll do that. So he's going to acquire Missionaria Protectiva. Now, because I'm one person playing with 3 players, I'm going to make a note of that. So relate blue relations with the Bene Gesserit. And invest in Bene Gesserit cards, since he's holding Missionaria Protectiva. Okay, so I needed that little reminder. All right, so where are we? Let's go back to blue. So blue revealed a couple of daggers, Dune, the desert planet, and the voice. So that's 3 persuasion between these 2, and 2 combat strength for the 2 daggers. So it's looking like blue's officially going to come in second with 6 combat strength. Now, when all is said and done and the combat phase is finished, all of these troops in the combat get sent home back to their respective player boards. So that's a little bit of a penalty, but fortunately red only assigned 1 troop, so it's not the end of the world. Okay, so she has 3 persuasion to spend. Oh, she's definitely taking Fedaykin Death Commando. The agent ability lets her trash a card, and if she holds on to it until a reveal turn, she gets 1 persuasion, and if she has a Fremen bond, that means another Fremen card in hand, then, or in play, then you get that 3 extra combat strength. So again, I need to make a note here. Invest in Fremen cards. That's the only chance that she's going to have a Fremen bond. Now, there's an interesting distinction there. Remember the card that, who was it? Green, that Green purchased indicated that it had to have another Bene Gesserit card in play. This one indicates, this card, Fedaykin Death Commando, indicates that you have to have a Fremen bond, which means you have to have another Fremen card in play or in your hand when it's resolved. Now, because this is in part of the reveal turn box, well, all your cards are already in play after your reveal turn. So in this case, there's not much difference. But if an effect had, say, a Fremen bond requirement in the agent box, then that would make a difference. That would mean you would look to see if you had another Fremen card in your hand or in play face up in front of you, and that would then dictate whether or not you could use that ability. She's taken Fedaykin Death Commando for 3. And now the combat phase. Green wins it, gets the point. He has his control banner in Carthage. And what was second place again? Blue drew an intrigue card. She drew Master Tactician, which was the second place award with a combat strength of 6. And the other award was that she gained 1 spice. Okay. So Green is the controller of Carthage. He will get 1 Solar anytime somebody sends an agent here. And because Carthage is the only non-faction location that offers intrigue cards, that's not a bad place to have control of. I think there were agents all through here, so there was no spice added to any of the Maker's phase during the to any of the Maker's boxes. So we enter round 3. The winner of this conflict is going to score a point again and gain a water. And the player who comes in second place is going to gain a water and a spice. And Duke Leto Atreides is the start player this round. He is going to start by using Poison Snooper because he now has cards in his deck. So remember, this allows you to reveal the top card of your deck to yourself and then choose to either draw it or trash it. And he reveals a dagger. Normally I trash it because it's not a particularly good card. It only allows you to go to Landsraad and it only provides 1 combat strength. But it's so early in the game, I'm going to hold on to it and draw it into my hand. So now the Duke has 2 daggers in hand with a point up for grabs again. That puts him in a good position. He's out of water. He's going to use diplomacy to send an agent to Stillsuits, gain 1 influence with the Fremen, and gain 1 water. And he'll be able to recruit up to 1 troop. He has 1 in his garrison. He will deploy that single troop. Okay. Ms. Thorvald. Let's check out Master Tactician. So this says either during the combat phase, either claim 3 extra combat strength, or you may retreat up to 3 of your troops from combat, returning them to your garrison. This is a nice card to have on hand. So she feels this may be her conflict to lose. Now, in order to be in a position to play that intrigue card during the combat phase, she has to actually be involved in the conflict, which means she has to deploy at least 1 troop. She's also sitting on 5 spice at the moment, which you would love to take to market for the 10 Solari that it's worth. And that would easily allow her to then subsequently go to Swordmaster. Maybe she should go to the Hall of Oratory and plan to sell the spice next turn. She sees that Red might possibly want to sell her 2 spice as well this turn, since that would bring her Solari up to 9. I think she's going to sell first. Yeah, she wants to sell first. She wants to get her Swordmaster first. She is going to play Smuggler's Thopter, which allows access to a spice trade location. The agent box says if you have 2 influence with the Spacing Guild, you're able to draw 2 cards. She doesn't, so that benefit's not going to help her. But I should make a note to visit the Spacing Guild and gain 2 influence to make good value of Smuggler's Thopter. She's going to play Smuggler's Thopter, send her agent to sell Melange. She could sell 2, 3, 4, or all 5 of her spies. She's selling all 5. She's going to be sitting on a total of 12 Solari. And that's going to end her turn. Okay, so Helena is disappointed that she can't sell her spice. The Bene Gesserit might be interested, but she does not have a card that lets her visit them either. She's going to take a look at the Imperium Row, just see what's coming up. Oh, Opulence might be a card she wouldn't mind acquiring. 1 more card in hand, she might be able to afford it. On the other hand, maybe she should use Firm Grip. to visit the Emperor, take 2 Solari and use it to increase her influence elsewhere. Okay, that's what she's going to do. All right, she is going to play Firm Grip. Now that allows her to either visit Landsraad or the Emperor. She is going to go to the Emperor and send an agent to Wealth. And this really doesn't matter. But she will pay 2 Solari. Actually, she's getting 2 Solari from Wealth. She'll have 5. Truth is, the idea of joining the High Council appeals to her a lot right now. You know what? I think she's actually going to decline this. This might be a mistake, but I think she's going to decline influence right now. So she just takes the 2 Solari, and that's that. Duke Leto. So he's a little surprised that he has no combat competition at the moment. I'm sure he expects that's going to change. He's going to play... He wants a troop. He wants more troops. He's going to play Reconnaissance. And he's going to visit Carthage for a group. He's going to visit Carthage for a troop, an intrigue card, and a Solari to himself because he's controlling Carthage. Nice, favorite subject. Simply increase your influence with the Emperor. That's a no-brainer. He's just going to do that right now. And he gets a point because he hit the second step. So now he is at 3, and Helena's at 2, and Ariana is at 1. He is going to deploy that troop. He turns it over to Ariana. So is she going to make a move for the conflict? Best she can hope for right now is 2nd place, actually, which wouldn't be the end of the world. She'd have to play something like Reconnaissance and go to Arrakeen. That's what she's going to do. She's going to play Reconnaissance, send her agent to Arrakeen, get a troop, get another card in hand. She got Diplomacy. That gives her some options. And she will deploy that troop. But that's as good as she's going to be able to go with. However, remember, she does have this in her back pocket, so she could get her combat strength up to 5 if necessary. Helena was considering the High Council. She will stick to that plan. She will play Dagger and go to the High Council, and from this point on, during all of her reveal turns, she will have an extra 2 persuasion to work with. And now she's broke. And now it is the Duke's reveal turn. So he had a pair of daggers. So he's got 2, 4, 6 combat strength with the daggers. And with his 3 persuasion, wow. He'd love that card, but he can't afford it. He's going to take Shifting Allegiances. It's all he can afford. It is now the Countess's reveal turn. And she has 6 persuasion. Oh, Cheney is the card for her. Yes. Considering that she is in with the Fremen, and this gives her more access to the Fremen, that's really perfect. She is going to choose Cheney. And Red's reveal turn produces 7 persuasion, which includes the 2 from the High Council. And she is taking Opulence. Combat phase, pretty easy. Oh, actually, maybe not. So does blue play Master Technician? So this provides 3 extra combat. It's not going to be enough. So she's going to hold on to the card and let it go. She would have loved to have pulled the rug right out from under the Duke, but not quite enough, so she's going to have to save it for another time. But at least she will head home with a water and a spice, and the Duke scores a 4th point and is going to take his 2nd water. Maker's phase. Spice goes to all 3, and now we're in round 4. And this is a Solari only conflict. 6 goes to the victor. 4 Solari go to 2nd place. The Countess, oh yeah, she is going to make a beeline for Swordmaster now that she's got 12 Solari. So she is going to play her Signet ring. It's going to give her another water, or a 3rd water. And she is going to Swordmaster for her 3rd agent. She gets that immediately. Effectively her 2nd agent because the other one's on the board, and she can use it this round. Heighliner wants to get in on the action. She plays Reconnaissance, her only card that gets her into the city, and she sends an agent to Arrakeen for a troop and another card. And she is going to deploy that troop. Leto, oh, he'd love 4 spice. He's got the water. He's going to play Dune, the desert planet. Go to the Great Flat. Pay 2 water, get 4 spice. Bring your spice up to 5. Ariana, she would not have minded going to the Great Flat herself, but she'll settle for Hagga Basin with her Dune card. She gets 2 spice in a card. She drew her other dagger. We know where she might be headed next turn. Heighliner has her Signet ring available. Let's take a look up here and see what we got. Well, she seems to have a somewhat budding relationship with the Empress with a firm grip, so should probably set aside Fremen camp because she's trying to make inroads there as well. All right, so she's playing Signet ring, going to Sietch Tabr. You have to have 2, everybody has 2 influence with the Fremen at this point. They are a popular faction. Not a problem coming here. She gets her troop. She gets, first we're doing her Signet ring. Fremen camp is what she wanted to set aside. I think that was another The Voice that came out. She is sending that troop in. That's her 2nd troop. Okay, Duke, what are you going to do? You're going to get in on the combat action. Well, he doesn't have another Bene Gesserit card in play, so he's not going to get that benefit. And I don't think he wants to hold on to his spice right now. And actually, there is no faction that he's behind in, so playing a Signet ring would be a waste. So he's going to play Missionaria Protectiva, and he's going to head back to Carthage for another troop and another intrigue. He deploys the troop. He got refocus. That allows you to shuffle your discard pile into your deck and draw a card. He's going to hold off on that. I'm not sure he I don't know that one card's going to make a huge amount of difference right now. He's going to hold off. All right, Ariana's last chance. Well, she doesn't have a Fremen bond. She doesn't have any other Fremen cards in play or in her hand. So she is going to play the commando and go to Imperial Basin for 2 spice. And Vidaikin Death Commando allows her to trash a card. So I was, if there's any confusion, I was saying since she doesn't have a Fremen bond, and that it doesn't look like she's going to have a Fremen bond, then there's no dire need to have Vidaikin Death Commando in the reveal phase, which is why I felt okay about using it in the agent turn, during an agent turn. And now that the agent box dictates that she can trash one of her cards. So is she going to trash one of her daggers? Actually, she has the Dune, the Desert Planet in play over here. Maybe she'll hold on to her daggers and trash that. When you're trashing, as a reminder, you can trash anything in your hand, anything in your in play, or anything in your discard pile. I think of all these cards, I mean, it doesn't matter whether she trashes that or this. She's going to just trash this Dune, the Desert Planet card. Okay, so she gained 1 spice, correct? Yeah, she gained 1 spice for Imperial Basin, drew Cheney into her hand. And by the way, did I mention when she acquired Cheney, she should have gotten a water. Yes, she got her water. Okay. So she is out of the combat. She didn't make it. Okay, turning it over to Helena's reveal turn. She revealed that her dagger and assassination mission, which contributed 2 more combat strength. So she had 2 for her troops plus 2 for her cards, her swords, bringing her up to 6. She might win this. Does she want Fremen camp for 3? Yes, she does. That leaves her with 2 persuasion, and with that, she will acquire the voice. I'm not sure how much battle she's going to get involved with. Maybe she won't be that combative. All right, Leto only has 2 combat strength. He wants Bene Gesserit cards. He's got the 4 persuasion. Now he can afford other memory. He takes it. Okay, blue. So there's nothing special here, so I can just click. So obviously her daggers don't help her because she doesn't. You have to have a troop. If you have no troops, nothing else helps. If you have troops and something causes you to lose all your troops in combat, then there's nothing you can do to increase your combat strength at that point. Aside from some effect that allows you to deploy a troop, but swords are of no value. So with 4 persuasion, she did want better access to the Spacing Guild. So she is going to acquire space travel for 3. And that's all she can afford. Combat phase, boy, this was an easy one. So Helen is getting the 8 Solari, and Duke is getting the 6. Guess of all the combat phases, that probably wasn't the worst one to not be involved in. That leads us into round 5. Helena is now going to be the start player. Now, this is a big conflict coming up. This allows you to increase your influence in 2 different factions, 2 of your choice. Unfortunately, she's 1 Solari short of her Swordmaster. She only has 7. Oh, I know what she can do. She got this assassination mission so she could trash it. She is going to play diplomacy and send her agent over to Selective Breeding at the Bene Gesserit, pay 2 spice. That's all she's got. She increases her influence and now has the option to trash a card to draw 2 more. She will trash Assassination Mission for 4 Solari. That brings her up to 11, and she'll draw 2 cards, Firm Grip and Dune. Nice to have Firm Grip back in her hand. Okay, Duke Leto. He's got 8 Solari. He is going to play Dagger and go to Swordmaster. Getting that 3rd agent as quickly as you possibly can, which is usually around 3 or 4, depending upon how concerted an effort you made. I guess I didn't make too concerted an effort since it's already round 5, but better late than never. He is still going to hold off, I think, on playing Refocus until he thinks he needs it. Ariana has 3 agents. She wants influence with the Spacing Guild, right? Yeah, so she's going to play Diplomacy and get a Foldspace card, which gets her access to anywhere on the board, and then the card gets trashed. But she gets 1 influence as well with the Spacing Guild, which is what was even more important for her. That and trashing Assassination Mission. Helena. She has enough Solari for her Swordmaster, and her special ability lets her send an agent there, even though the Duke already occupies it. So she plays Dagger, and she gets her 3rd agent as well. She's down to 3 Solari. So the Duke is sitting with 5 spice, but he can't get to spice trade. He doesn't have a card. Should he use Refocus now? Though he wanted influence with the Bene Gesserit, and he has the spice, and he's in good stead with the Emperor. Emperor shot him. Okay, he is going to play Seek Allies. It's going to get trashed. He's going to Conspire. He's going to pay 4 of his 5 spice, gain 1 more influence with the Emperor. That'll take him up to the 3rd step, 1 step shy of an alliance. He'll collect 5 Solari, 2 troops, can't deploy them though, and an intrigue card. He drew Counselor's Dispensation, which has to do with the High Council. It says if you have a seat on the High Council, collect 2 spice. He does not currently have a seat, but he has 6 Solari, and it would only cost him 4 to go to the High Council, so he has to remember to do that. Nobody's in the center yet. Everybody had other things they had to do. Ariana. And unfortunately, look, she has no way to recruit troops this round. But if she harvests, she might draw a card that might provide her a way to deploy troops. Okay, so she plays Dune, the Desert Planet. And with her 2 water, goes to the Great Flat. She will take 2 spice and 1 card. Hopefully she gets the right card, something that gets her into the factions, or gets her into the city, or something. Well, she got Reconnaissance. Well, she's not going back to the Spacing Guild until next turn, it looks like, but reconnaissance might come in handy. Helena. Boy, she has no way to recruit troops either. What could she possibly do? Well, what she can do is play Firm Grip. What's she giving up? She's giving up this, she does what I want her to do. Oh, shoot. I wanted to send her to the Mentat so she could draw another card and see if it gives her some more options. But she can't go to the Mentat and afford paying 2 Solari to increase influence. So do I not use the ability of Firm Grip? I'm going to gamble on another card. This could be foolhardy. I mean, she's got 8 cards in her deck. What are the odds? All right, she's going to go to the Mentat. It's asking about resolving Firm Grip, but it shouldn't resolve it because my program should be smart enough to know that she only has 3 Solari and can't afford it. Yeah, it knows. She draws her Signet ring. Okay, that offers her an opportunity to deploy. She's happy about that. That turned out all right. Okay, the Duke is going to do High Council next turn. He's on the verge of an alliance with the Emperor, so he is going to play diplomacy and go to wealth. And that will get him his alliance. And 2 troops, which he cannot deploy. So the alliance token leaves the track and goes in front of him in his supply. Now, that's not foolproof, of course. If anybody else creeps up and overtakes him on the track, they'll steal it and take away the point that he just scored. He's already up at 5 points, halfway there. So he's got to protect that alliance as well. All right, so Ariana, I think she drew Reconnaissance, so she is going to play Reconnaissance and go to... She'd like another intrigue card. She's going to go to Carthage. She's going to give the Solari to the Duke. What does she get? Secret of the Sisterhood is nice. That just gives her 1 influence with the Bene Gesserit, which she will take right now. She did get it. I wasn't looking. Did she get it? Increased Bene Gesserit, yes. Okay. She is deploying that troop. So as planned, she is playing her Signet ring. I'm not sure what card she would set aside. I'll take a look at that in a second. She is going to go to Carthage. Everybody's helping out the Duke. She wants a troop and an intrigue card that might help her out in battle. What does she have persuasion-wise? 5 persuasion. She sets aside Sardaukar Legion. Allows you to deploy troops at the last minute if you have them in your garrison. Know their ways. That's not quite what she was hoping for. A combat card, but she'll take this. This gives her an influence with the Fremen. That puts her in the lead there, 1 step away from an alliance. And she will deploy. So it's 1-1 out there. Everybody's wondering what the Duke has up his sleeve. Was there another message there? I heard oh, it's his reveal turn. You know, maybe now would be a good time to play Refocus. He could use a little bit more persuasion. Let's do it. You can use plot cards, plot and tree cards during your agent turn or your reveal turn. You just can't use them during the combat phase. Well, everybody else breathes a sigh of relief now that they see that he didn't draw another combat card, but they know he's holding on to something else. So as far as they know, he has a combat card up his sleeve, even though he doesn't. So let's get this. Oh, right. So this allows him to deploy up to 3 troops. He will deploy 3. Well, is he going overboard? Is he wasting? If one of these guys has a double dagger, blue has an intrigue card, which could be a combat card. So he doesn't think 2 is good. He's going to have to go with 3. He's got to play it safe. He wants he wants first place. He's going to play out 3 troops. He has 4 persuasion. He wants Bene Gesserit's sister without question. For 3, unless a 1, yeah, he doesn't have anything with cost 1, so he's done. Blue's reveal turn. She has 5 persuasion, and she declares that she only has 2 combat strength, so that's a half of a sigh of relief by the Duke. Smuggler stopped her. She should have gotten the spice for that, did she? Yes, she did. Okay. So she's got 5 persuasion. She's going to buy power play, more access to the factions, and gain of 2 influence when you use this to send an agent instead of just 1, and then the card gets trashed. Guild Ambassador wouldn't be bad, but she wants access to the factions. Red's reveal turn shows that she only has 5 combat strength. It looks like it's a tie for 2nd place, depending upon who plays what in the way of combat cards. Seven persuasion. Oh, does she want to acquire Sardaukar Legion? What else is out there? She likes Gurney Halleck. What was he, the Master of Swords or something like that? I think for the Atreides. What does this mean? He's changing jobs. But she does like Sardaukar Legion too, because it gives her access to the Emperor. Yeah, she's going to take it for 4. That leaves her with 3. She'll take Imperial Spy, which allows her to trash the card when she uses it and get an intrigue card. That leaves her with 1, and another Missionaria Protectiva came out. She's not the one who owns the other one, though. I think the Duke owns the other one. I think. I may be mistaken. I'm not sure how much this is going to help her. This is kind of this is going to clog her deck, I think. She's going to have to pass on that. She cancels. Okay, so it's 6 to 2 to 2, which means that the Duke will get influence in 2 factions, And blue and red are each going to get 1 water. Since they're tied, they don't get the second place. They're tied for second, so they each get the full effect of the third place. All right. Oh, we're still sorry. We're still in the combat phase. Excuse me. I forgot. Blue has Master Tactician. Totally forgot about that. Is it worth 2 Solari to her to just play this card? Because that's all she's going to get out of it. Or should she save it? She's got 4 Solari. She's not... another 2 would let her get on the council. She's going to play Master Tactician, surprise Helena with it, and that will give her second place. So she'll get the water and 2 Solari, and Helena will go home empty-handed again. Okay, so the Duke has to choose his factions. He definitely wants to go up on the Fremen. He'll tie with red down there. So he's behind at least one other. He's behind 2 factions, so he can go up on one of these and still use his prudent diplomacy. So I'm going to have him go up with the Bene Gesserit, since he's concentrating on Bene Gesserit cards. And he wanted relations with them. That sounds... so the Bene Gesserit are an all-female race. Relations, that doesn't sound right. I don't think Jessica would be too happy. Bene Gesserit. Ariana should get her water and her Solari. Maker's phase. Heading into round 6. So up for grabs is 1 influence with any faction and 2 intrigue cards. And the Duke is the start player. So we're into the second half of the game. He's going to play Dr. Yua, the traitor. And he's going to go to Arrakeen. He wants to get another card in hand. He's got to start thinking about if he can get into the High Council. So what just happened there? He drew a card for Dr. Yua. Recruit a troop from green. Drew card. Oh, so we got the card for Dr. Yua and a card for Arrakeen. Okay, I sort of lost track of what was going on there. And he drew his Missionaria. He was hoping for his Signet ring. Okay, he's going in strong with 2 troops. And yeah, what I was about to say when I was interrupted. He has to start thinking about getting Spice Must Flow cards. Each time you acquire a Spice Must Flow, that comes with a point. It just costs 9 persuasion to get in there. So if he can get it into the High Council, at least one of those cards, maybe 2. Ariana finally gets her chance to visit the Spacing Guild. And the Duke has 2 troops, and she has 7 spice. We know what she's doing. Diplomacy, going to Heighliner. Pays 6 spice for the benefit. She gets 5 troops and can recruit all 5 of them if she wants to. And she also picked up 2 water as well, not to mention the influence. Oh, and she got a point, so she's up to 2 points now. 5 troops might be overkill at the moment. As long as she has the troops in her garrison, it means she can All she has to do is go to like any one of the desert locations or something like that, and she can deploy more as she goes. So she doesn't want to overdo it right off the bat. She's going to deploy 2 troops. Okay, Helena. Opulence gets her to the Emperor. She is 1 step away from a point. She'll go to wealth with opulence. Get a point. She goes up to 3 points. So they are starting to move now. They're on the heels of the Duke. How does the Duke follow up? Now he's sitting on 2, 4, 6, 8 persuasion at the moment, but he has two agents on deck. Oh, well, he's got 2 Bene Gesserit cards. And this is the one that wants another one in play. So he's going to play Other Memory to get it into play. It is a Bene Gesserit affiliated card. I don't know if I ever mentioned this, but if it's not obvious, if there's an affiliation between a card and a faction, it's denoted under their name in the little banner there. So he's playing Other Memory. He is going to go to Carthage, get a troop and another intrigue card and another Solari, up to 11 Solari. So Other Memory lets him either draw a card or take another Bene Gesserit card out of his discard pile. And he's got Bene Gesserit's sister sitting out there. I think that's the one he's going to take. So he wants the Bene Gesserit discard. I think it's going to be smart enough to know that's the only one. Yeah, goes into his hand. And he drew Infiltrate, which allows him, I think, to go to an occupied space, doesn't it? Yes. That might come in handy at some point. And he will deploy the troop. And ends his turn. Turning it over to the Countess. She has 2 troops so far, with 3 standing by. She was going to go get some spice. She's going to play Dune the Desert Planet. She'll go to the Hagga Basin for now. She'll pay a water for 2 spice and a card. She gets her Foldspace card. Yes. Yeah, she definitely wants to get back. She wants to have as much faction action as possible. She was the one that drew Cheney. Boy, Cheney would have been a nice card to get right now, too. Even better, maybe, because of Fadike and Death Commando. She sees that the Duke's sitting on 2 intrigue cards. Either or both of which could be combat cards. She's going to deploy 2 troops. Helena, who really has not been getting in on the action at all. I guess that's her new motto, although if she really wants to be a contender, she's going to have to at some point. She's got 2 water. She's going to play Dune the Desert Planet and go for 2 spice at an Imperial Basin. She has no spice currently at the moment. Okay, Duke with 3 troops, and he knows he doesn't have a combat card, but he also knows nobody else does either. But he, as far as he's concerned, he can keep up the bluff. Should he go to High Council? No, he really should. He needs to get another troop out. And he's got Other Memory. This will give him an increase in influence. He's going to play Missionaria Protectiva. He will go to Sietch Tabr for a troop and a water. Oh, he's gonna get influence with the Fremen. He'll get a water and get the alliance and score another point. He'll be at 6 points. That's 2 alliances he's got so far. And he's going to deploy that troop, bringing him up to 4. So now that gives Blue the hint that maybe he's not holding on to a combat card because he felt he needed another troop. So maybe Blue should try to get an intrigue card. But she really wanted the Spacing Guild. All right, she's going to play Foldspace to get another Foldspace and get an influence, taking her up to the 3rd step. She drew Dagger, which gives her a combat strength. That's encouraging. She would have also liked a Fremen card for a Fremen bond. That would have given her 3 combat strength over here. She's clearly not going into combat. Well, she hates donating to the Leto fund, but that's what she's going to do. She's going to go. She's going to play Arrakeen liaison and go to Carthage. Her eyes everywhere allows her to do that. She draws guild authorization. What is that? Oh, that's a Spacing Guild influence. She definitely takes that. Does she want... one troop is not going to help. She has no chance at all. So she is going to cancel the troop deployment and hold on to the troop for next round, perhaps. Duke, reveal turn. He's going to make a decision about Bene Gesserit's sister. So what was this conflict? This was for 1. This is for 2 intrigue and 1 influence. He's got 2 intrigue now. If he actually won, then he could be at risk. Who's up? Yeah, blue and red are coming up before him. And if anybody sees that he has 4 cards, 4 intrigues, they would definitely go after him. So maybe he shouldn't fight too hard for winning this combat. So he's going to play this for 2 persuasion, not 2 combat strength, which I think Blues are going to be a little surprised by. But then once she sees what he's got, maybe not so much. I mean, she could see that he has 2 cards, 2 intrigues, and then he might not want another 2 on top of it. He's got 7. Boy, if he was at the High Council, he'd be at 9. All right, so he's taking Gurney Halleck for sure. And with the 1 remaining, he will definitely take another Missionaria card. That's 2 for him. Ariana's revealing. So he has 9 combat strength. Yeah, she didn't have a Fremen bond. So she is in fact tying. And I don't think anybody has a combat card, so I think it's going to be a tie. They're each going to get 1 intrigue card, which the Duke could definitely live with, and Ariana's certainly happy about it. But after all that, she only has 4 persuasion. She could make use of Gunthopter and Guild Ambassador. I think she wants Guild Ambassador more. That influence with the Spacing Guild. And then if she can get an alliance, she can convert Spice into a point. That's what's on her mind. Red's reveal turn. I think she has 6 persuasion. Well, she wants to get into battle because she hasn't really been involved. That would be Gunthopter would be a good card for that. She'll take Gunthopter. Oh, now Worm Riders comes out. She would have killed for that. And of course, she can't afford it now. And now somebody else is going to get it, probably. She'll settle for scout. Ah, and another scout comes out. But she's going to take assassination mission instead. It's always nice to have one of those. Decks are getting pretty thick here. So we have a tie. Everybody's going to get one spice and one intrigue. Not everybody, just green and blue. And now we're into round 7. So it is the Duke at 6, Helena at 3, and the Countess at 2. Up for grabs is 2 influence with one faction and an intrigue card. She got Private Army, which is a combat card. Pay 2 spice for 5 combat strength. Nice to have. This might be her conflict to lose. She's got Cheney and power play. Okay, she's going to play Cheney to start. And she's got 2 water. She's going to pay 1 of it to go to Hardy Warriors and recruit 2 troops, which she could potentially deploy. She also gets an influence with the Fremen. Everybody's creeping up on the Duke. Better watch out. She will deploy. Should she deploy 3 or 2? Well, she'll have 1 in her garrison. She'll start with 2. You don't want to kind of throw everything out and then not have anybody dip their toes. You got to make it a little tempting to get in the water. All right, Helena wanted to get a dip in the water. She will play Arrakeen Liaison and rally troops, which gets 4 troops into her garrison. That'll make 5 troops in her garrison at her disposal for a subsequent agent to deploy them. She thinks this is her conflict to lose, actually. She doesn't know what Blue's holding in her hand. Duke Leto. Oh, he drew Bypass Protocol. Acquire a card that costs 3 persuasion or less, or pay 2 spice, which he does have, to acquire a card that costs 5 or less. What's out there? Well, nothing that costs 5 or less that's not 3 or less. Bene Gesserit, he'd take gene manipulation for free. What was it? Acquire for free. Yeah, so he's going to bypass protocol. He's not going to pay 2 spice, which means he can get 1 for 3 or less for free, and he'll take gene manipulation. Okay, Duncan, Idaho comes out. So what has he got here? He's got a signet ring. And he could increase his standing with the Spacing Guild if he wanted. And he wants to get on the High Council, and he's got his 12 Solari. He better do it before he forgets. Signet ring, High Council. He will go up on the Spacing Guild. And now that he's on the High Council, he can gain 2 spice for that seat, which gets him up to 3. And he's still got infiltrate. All right. Ariana. She's got a trap to spring. She's got power play, which gives her 2 influence instead of 1 with a faction. She is going to spring it at the Fremen and take the alliance away from the Duke. She's going to go to Stillsuits. So the Duke's going to drop to 5 points. She's going to go to 3 points. And she's deploying the troop. Nice turn for her. She is all alone in there with 3 troops. But red is threatening. And green hasn't yet made a move. We've got 4 spice out here. And having 6 spice is nice if you want to get up to these spaces. She's going to play the voice. And she'll visit the sandworms at the Great Flat. And what does she want to use the voice on? It's a little early, so this is only going to last 1 set of turns. So people who have 2 agents can still get their 3rd agent in wherever she blocks. She'll block Carthage. Yes, Carthage. So she paid 2 water. She collected 4 spice. She is deploying 2 troops. The Duke, not happy about losing this alliance with the Fremen. He does not want to give up that Fremen alliance. He can play shifting allegiances. Boy, this means he's foregoing the combat. But damn it, he's not going to let this alliance get away from him. He's going to play shifting allegiances. He is going to lower his influence with the Bene Gesserit. Now, first he has to place his agent. Oh, he's got 2 agents. Oh, he can go to rally troops. No, he can't. That's occupied. He could play infiltrate. He goes to rally troops. You know what? I'll do it later. Let's get the troops first. All right. So who does he want to go down? I think the Bene Gesserit. Yeah. Lower with the Bene Gesserit. And gain 2 with the Fremen. Stealing the alliance back and basically locking it in because he's going to be on the 6th step. So as long as he doesn't go down a step, he's good. Gets the alliance back. So he has 4 troops standing by and 1 agent. He can do something next turn. Ariana. Spice is always nice for Ariana because it means another card. She'll play Smuggler's Thopter. She will get 2 cards for this. So she's going to go to the Hagga Basin. Pay 1 water, get 1 card and 1 spice. So she's going to get 3 cards in total. This might give her 9 persuasion, possibly. What is she looking at? Oh, she's still not up here. That kind of stinks. So she's a 2, 4, 6, 7. If she were up there, can't do everything in this game. Probably should have made that a higher priority. All right, moving on to Helena. Needs to beef up her troop presence. Is Carthage available now? I think it is. I think we've gone around 1 set of turns. If it's not, my program will tell me. It is available. She drew Water of Life. She has no water. Water of Life says pay a water, pay a spice, draw 3 cards. She just needs to get some water. However, combat-wise, she's going all in with 3 troops. His getting the Fremen back meant that he has no way to deploy 4 troops. He has a way to deploy 2 troops, but that's clearly not going to cut it, and he doesn't have anything to back it up with. So he's pretty much out of the battle. Now that he's on the High Council, maybe he could play. He's giving up 2 persuasion, but he's only at 6 right now. This lets him draw a card into his hand, or draw. This is a Bene Gesserit card, isn't it? Yeah, So that would give him, that way he doesn't lose the 2 persuasion. And he is going to go to research station. And hoping for a persuasion upon persuasion. He wants a Spice Must Flow card. This is going to cost him his 2 water. He will get Gene Manipulation into his hand, and he will draw 3 cards. First he gets Gene Manipulation. And he draws 1, nothing, 1. Oh my God, does that suck. It was a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All he needed was a convincing argument. His deck's too thick. There's not enough ways to trash in this game. If there's going to be an expansion, they need to add more trashing. He's not deploying any troops. There's nothing he can do. Ariana is a revealing. I think it was 6 persuasion, maybe 7? 7 persuasion, 7 combat strength. 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, Red's got her beat easily. With her 7 persuasion, she's going to take Worm Riders. So she's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe about 16 cards in her deck. Bene Gesserit initiative, it does nothing for her. Scout wouldn't be terrible, but she really doesn't want to. She wants to keep her deck count down. She's not going to spend it. She has to get to the High Council. This is killing her. Helena. This gives her retreat up to 2 of your troops. So she'll take it for the. This would bring her up to 3. Well, 3 persuasion, 12 combat strength. 3 persuasion, that's pretty sad. She doesn't have much in the way of Bene Gesserit, but having an option to have 2 combat strength is not terrible. She will, she cares more about that than the relationship with the Bene Gesserit sister, though she is 1 step away from a point over there. She'll take that. The Duke's reveal. He's going to come up short, wasn't it? I think he was at 8. 8. Man, he wasn't in the battle. He really wanted 9. That draw sucked. This is an Emperor and a Fremen card. Let's start with 1 persuasion on Scout and see what comes out. Smuggler's Thopter. Let's take this for the combat strength. That'll leave him with 5. What comes out? Oh, he would have taken that, but he's now out of reach. So he'll take Bene Gesserit Initiate. That leaves him with 2. And I guess he'll take another Arrakeen Liaison. This would be a 2nd. That's for the persuasion. See, he's got the opposite problem. His deck is too big. That might come back to haunt him. Okay, so Blue's got Private Army. Pay 2 spice for 5. She'd only tie. But she'd rather deprive... I think she's going to play it. She'll take the intrigue card and 3 spice and deprive... Helena's going to be mighty pissed. She's going to play Private Army, cost her 2 spice, but she's getting 3 spice in return. And we'll check out the intrigue cards that they got. This leads us into round 8 with 2 points and control of Imperial Basin for first place. These are the level 3 cards. Five spice is a consolation. Boy, Duke has to really pour it on this round if he wants to hold on to that lead. So it's Helena, round 8. She has 9 spice. She is going to Heighliner. She's playing diplomacy. Heighliner it is. Oh, and she has water now, which means she could play Water of Life. What does that give her? 3 cards? Yeah, let's do it. Not bad. Okay. And she drew Chome shares. Okay, I gotta make a note of that. Need 7 points for Chome victory point. She doesn't care. She's going all in. 6 troops. She wants people to know if they want to come in, they better come in strong. She wants those 2 points. If anybody's going to come in strong, it's the Duke. What are you doing, Duke? You're a point shy of, yep, you're going to go to Foldspace. Get you to the second step and a point. You're now at 7 points. That's enough to make people worry. Ariana has her signet ring, which would give her a water. And she needs to get on the High Council, so that's what she's doing. She gets a water, she pays out 5 Solari. And now everybody's on the High Council. A recruitment mission she can play. Gain 1 persuasion during your reveal turn this round. You may put cards you acquire on top of your deck. And I'll just play it and remember. I gotta remember, Countess Ariana, cards on top. Don't forget that. It also gets her the extra persuasion too. That's nice. Okay, Helena. She needs 7 Solari, not points, but she knows. She knows what it means. She's got 11 persuasion right now, I think. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11, plus 2. She's got 13. So let's start collecting Solari. She is going to play Signet Ring and go to Secure Contract. That'll get her up to 5. Oh, and she's using her manipulate ability. She'll set aside Liet-Kynes. What was she? She was like a planet ecologist or something like that. Some weird title. Planetary ecologist? I don't know. I'm sharing my minimal Dune wisdom. Okay, ending her turn. Oh, he's got Gurney Halleck. Lets him deploy troops at the last minute. He's got 2 agents. He'd like another card. He doesn't have the water. Oh, he can get the Mentat. When you need another card in hand, that's when a different card, that's when you want to play the Mentat. So that means he's playing Bene Gesserit's sister. Boy, is he forfeiting on the combat? Well, the Mentat will give him another agent. Yeah, he's not out of it yet. But he wants to get another card in hand. So he's going to go, and he only pays 1 Solari for it. This better be a good card. So, Sardaukar Legion. He'll take it. And it recruits 2 more troops. Yeah, he definitely will take it. That's a great card to draw. Ariana. She would love to play space travel, but she can't because she's locked out. How is she going to compete with Helena in combat? I don't think she has a way. Well, if she goes to Carthage, it depends what she gets in the way of intrigue. She'll go to Carthage, give a buck to the Duke. Reinforcements. That's interesting. Now, that's not a combat card. That's a plot card, but it allows you to pay 3 Solari for 3 troops. And if it's your reveal turn, you may deploy them. So I got to remember that she's got that. I got a lot to remember for Ariana. Given that, she is going to deploy the troop, which looks pretty small compared to what Red has out there. All right, Red wants Solari for that point. She's screaming for every point, and she's sitting pretty in combat. She plays Firm Grip. That's another way to get a point. She could pay 2 Solari. She can get a point with the Bene Gesserit, put pressure on blue and the Spacing Guild, on green and Emperor. Well, definitely, if it's anything, it's going to be the Bene Gesserit. She wants a point. She's going to play Firm Grip. She's going to go to Wealth. And that'll get her 1 step up there. And then she will take the influence with the Bene Gesserit, paying 2 Solaris. Now she's back down to 3, but the Wealth brings her back up to 5. And now she's breathing down the Duke's cloak. Well, the nice thing about the Duke, if you play him, is you get 2 troops and a card, which is always nice. He just has to go someplace where he can deploy. He will go to Arrakeen. He'll play Gurney Halleck and send him to Arrakeen. He drew Reconnaissance. That kind of stinks. And then Dune, the Desert Planet. Was that the other one? I wasn't watching. He's going in with 5. Here I come, Helena. You thought you were all alone, didn't you? And he's got the Mentat standing by. Ariana, what are you doing? She's got 2, 4, 6, 7. She's thinking about revealing early. I'm not sure how much reinforcements is going to help her. Oh, she doesn't have the Solari to pay for anyway. Oh, and she's the one that gets the cards on top of her deck. Don't forget that. So she's got 8 persuasion if she reveals. A day late and $1 short. Oh, but she would love to get Shifting Allegiance on top of her deck. She's basically forfeited 1 troop. Not the end of the world. She can't compete with these guys. She is going to reveal. She's going to cancel and reveal early. So what did I say? 8? She should have 8. Yes, 8, and anything she takes could go on top of her deck. Doesn't have to. So she's going to start with Shifting Allegiances. Yes. Stilgar! Ooh, Stilgar! By all means, we're taking Stilgar. Okay. Yes, indeed. Helena revealed. She's going to come up. What's she come up at? How much persuasion? I didn't notice. 8. What's with this 8? Does she want Leah Kynes? No, I think she wants Reverend Mother Mohim. Yeah, she does not want Leah Kynes. Sorry, Leah. Go back to your ecology. She is going to acquire Reverend Mother for 6. Leaves her with 2. And another way to trash, she'll take Guild Ambassador. Duke, what do you got? Deploy up to 3 troops. Oh, we're working on the Mentat here. Hang on. So I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And this lets me deploy troops. So I'm revealing early. Because I can't afford to give up a, yeah, sorry Mentat, you're not getting used. I'm going to cancel, reveal early. I am going to deploy troops with Sardaukar Legion. I'll deploy 2. So that's what, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 to 6. And there's my 9. So I'm taking the Spice Must Flow, which brings my score up to 8. Can I get to 10 before the 10th round? That would be a tall order. I have 15 combat strength. What does green come up with? Oh, green lost. Oh, sorry. Green had nothing to come up with. Red increased. Red won it with combat strength of 15. She beat out green. I had forgotten what she revealed turn. Oh, there's combat strength. There's combat strength. There's combat strength. So she got 3 plus with her troops. So red gets the 2 points. She's at 7. Talk about breathing down the Duke's neck. Poor blue is way behind. Round 9. 2 points and control of Arrakeen. So red has control of Imperial Basin, control of Arrakeen, and 2 points is up for grabs in round 9. This is exciting, folks. Oh, this is the way I love it. Duke is up first. He could sure use another Spice Must Flow and put him over the top. He got his shifting allegiances. He does not want to give this point up. He certainly doesn't want to drop down here or here. He's got to get his Bene Gesserit up so he can sacrifice it. And here's the card to do it. Bene Gesserit's sister. Or should he go after the combat? If he wins the combat, he pretty much wins. The 2 of us have 6 spice, which means we could go to Heighliner. What do I do here? Well, if I go to Heighliner, there's no guarantee I win the combat. But if I don't go to Heighliner and blue does, that's okay. Let her win the combat. I can last for a round. I'm going for the sure thing. I am playing Bene Gesserit's sister. I am going to Secrets. Huh? Oh, what? Did I hit Gurney by... Oh, I may have hit Gurney by accident. Bene Gesserit's sister. Secrets. I got to corner the market. What is that one? I think that's actually have 2 Spice Must Flow cards in your deck, I think. I'll check that in a second. Okay, so I got my influence with the Bene Gesserit. Now I just have to play shifting allegiances. If you have 2, you get a point. If you have more than everybody else, you get a point. So Ariana down in the dumps with 2 points is definitely going to make. It's definitely time to go to. If she goes to Heighliner, She gets the alliance too. Oh, that's perfect. She drew diplomacy. Now she could deploy as many as 5 troops, so she's up to 3 points now. If she can win this combat, she's up to 5. She can be in the game, and maybe she can even get another point somewhere along the way. Does she deploy all 5 right off the bat? Because she's got reinforcements standing by. And she's got the Solari now. She's only going to deploy 3. She's going to kind of play it cool. Though, because nobody knows what she's got sitting over here. Helena. Helena's been on a roll. What's she going to do here? Oh, look at, she was breathing down the Duke's neck. She could play Sardaukar Legion. Yep, she's playing Sardaukar Legion. Oh, and she wanted money anyway for Chome shares? She's going to wealth. Suddenly the Duke has other problems. That's what happens when you're in first. Everybody goes for you. So now what does the Duke do? He was going to play Shifting Allegiances. He could play it to hold on to the Emperor and lock that in, or he could go after Ariana at the Spacing Guild. He could go, or the Bene Gesserit, for that matter, would give him a guaranteed point. What does Red have in the way? Red has 2 spice, but she could still go to Conspire if she harvests. Oh boy, do I worry about combat or not? All right, I'm at 8 points. If I do, oh, I gotta drop the Bene Gesserit down. I can't drop that down. Oh, so I can't consider moving this up. All right, so I'm playing Shifting Allegiances. We'll use it to go rally troops. So I have the troops for next turn. That's fine. So I'll go down on the Bene Gesserit. Not quite ever making it to that second step. It kills me, but I can't give up the Emperor. So I'm going to lock that in, getting to the 6th step. Okay, so what did the Duke accomplish? He's still at 8 points, but at least he's not losing his alliances. Oh, Blue has the Shifting Allegiances as well. But she needs 2 spice. She's the spice addict. She could go to the Great Flat, get 3 spice and a card, and if she plays it with Shifting Allegiances, what would she do? Well, there's no point in having all this Fremen influence. She could drop down 1 step on the Fremen and go up on the Bene Gesserit. She doesn't have to worry yet about this. That would get her close to an alliance with the Bene Gesserit. All right, so she's playing Shifting Allegiances. She's going to go to the Great Flat to get the spice to pay for Shifting Allegiances. She goes down on, I don't want to screw this up, the Fremen to go up on the Bene Gesserit. Gets a point there. Yeah, she got a point. She's up to 4 now. Should she commit more troops? Nobody else is there yet. She's got another turn yet. She can hold off. Helena. Helena gets a spice when she comes here. What if she goes to Imperial Basin? She'll get 4 spice, and she can deploy 2 troops. Yep. She'll play Dune the Desert Planet. Imperial Basin. 4 spice brings her up to 6. Deploying 2 troops. The Duke would have loved to have gone to Imperial Basin. He doesn't have the water to go to Hagga Basin. So the only way he can get 2 troops into battle is with Gurney Halleck, I think. And that probably is only good for 2nd place. He could try the Mentat again. It means playing a dagger, losing a combat strength and hoping for something better. But then he wouldn't necessarily have, he's got 3 Solari, he needs 3 to pay to Gurney. Oh, man. He's got great cards in his deck, though. But the deck's at 19. He could get a lot of Drek as well. Oh, man. This is a tough one. He could go to secure contract. I think he's going to go for the Mentat. So that means he's giving up the dagger. This better be good. I'm taking a big gamble here, Vader. At least it only costs him 1 Solari. Oh, what if he falls short and can't afford to pay? What's he going to get? Oh, I don't know. Okay, do it. Do it. What does he get? Missionaria Protectiva. Yes. Okay. I'll calm down now. And he's got Bene Gesserit's sister in play, waiting to come back into hand. No, not to come back into hand. That's the memory card. This one just lets him get increased influence, but it doesn't help him with his money situation. He could use the Mentat to get money to pay Gurney. All right, he's good. Countess. If I play Smuggler's Thopter, I've got the 2 influence with the Spacing Guild. I can draw 2 cards. I'm doing anything I can to try to get to 9 persuasion. Cost me a spice. I want to play this too. Am I giving up Guild Ambassador? Well, all that does is reinforce Spacing Guild. I'm not really at risk there. And I've got the Alliance, which means I could pay 3 spice for a... I don't have the 3 spice. So I've got to go to Hagga Basin to have the spice to pay for the Guild Ambassador. Okay. So we're playing Smuggler's Thopter. That'll let us draw 2 cards, and we're sending an agent to Hagga Basin for 2 spice, which will get me to 3, and another card. So I think I'm looking at 3 more cards in my hand. That could get me to 9 persuasion. Well, I see a lot of swords. Oh, I see a lot of swords. 2, 4, 6. Oh, I'm sitting at 8. I don't get the persuasion. But I got 5 swords, which means I don't have to go in with the troops. All right, I'm canceling on the troops. People are seeing that I'm canceling the troops. They know I've got good stuff in my hand, or they think I've got something good over here in my intrigue. All right, Helena, what's the deal? So Chom Shears needed 7. She's got 7. But she could pay 6 for a point with opulence if she holds on to it. And she's got 7 Solari. So opulence is a better deal than Chom. Can she find some way to trash assassination mission? She's also about to reshuffle. Her deck's only at 1 card. If I played opulence now, I'd get 3 Solari, and I could go to Conspire, but that wouldn't let me deploy. But it could set me up for a good round 10 combat. I'm sure round 10 is going to be a good combat. Duke has 4 troops in his garrison. Intrigue would be nice. So with 3 cards in her deck, she might get opulence back again. Not likely, but she might. Well, given she's got Chom, she's going to play opulence. She's going to build up for round 10. She's going to play opulence. She is going to conspire. Beef up her garrison. And she got plans within plans. 3 influence on or more on 3 tracks. 3 influence or more on all tracks. I don't have to rush with Chom shares. I could just reveal it next round. There's something to be said for letting people think that they're ahead and they might get complacent. I'm at step 5 here. Step 2 with the Bene Gesserit. I'm at step 2. Step 2, the Spacing Guild. Step 2, the Bene Gesserit. I'm good here. I need to get 2 of these, both of these up in the 1 remaining round. And that would be, if I could get 1 up, that's good for a point. If I could get 2 up, that's 2 points. All right. He's going to play Missionaria Protectiva. I do have Bene Gesserit's sister, which means I'm going to gain influence. I am going to go to Carthage and see if I can get a combat card. Which faction do I want to go up on? Spacing Guild. What am I getting? Ambush! Ho 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 ho! Ambush! All right, I'm going in with 3. And now there's suddenly a 3-way race for, well, maybe a 2-way race for those 2 victory points. All right, I think people are revealing now, aren't they? Yeah, Blue is revealing. She drew too many daggers. She does not have 9, I don't think. She is going to pay 3 spice for a point with Guild Ambassador. Yes, indeed. Brings her up to 5. She is 1 persuasion short, but she's at 11 combat strength. Looking good. And she has reinforcements standing by. Oh, she'd have to play that this round. That's not a combat card. So she's looking at her 2 opponents, both have 2 intrigue cards. She's going to have to call on the reinforcements. She can't take a chance. That would bring her up to 17, I think. Yeah. Reinforcements. Reinforcements. I'm not taking a chance. Not with all those intrigue cards floating around. She's at 17 combat strength. 8 persuasion. Boy, that would have been nice to have 9. This is a good card for her. Okay, she's going to take Smuggler's Thopter. No guarantee she's going to get any of these. With 4 remaining, she'll take Duncan, Idaho for the combat strength. Her deck's not, it's pretty big. Who knows how the shuffle's going to work out. Helena, oh, she's got nada. 5 combat strength. She never expected to do very much. And she does not have a combat card. She's got 2 spies. She'll take Guild Ambassador and see if she can do something with that. So it's all up to the House of Atreides with an ambush card. Good for 4, I think, right? Yeah. So let's reveal Gurney Halleck. I got to work this out. He's got 3 troops. He's got the 3 Solari. Gurney would bring him up to 5 troops. That's 10 combat strength. The ambush gets him up to 14. He's not overtaking Ariana. He is not bothering with the troops. That means Ariana knows right away that she's got it in the bag. And he's got 5 persuasion. He's going to start with spice smugglers, 2 spice for Spacing Guild, and that's what he would love. Ooh, Thufir would have been great too. He'll take space travel for the card. Actually, no, but it's got 2 persuasion and access to the Spacing Guild. He'll take space travel. Combat phase, blue wins it. Oh, green, do you want to play a combat card? No, I don't think so. Blue's thrilled. She's up to 7 points. She's in the game. And green, second place, he gets to take 2 out of 3. He'll take an intrigue card. Let's see what he gets. Double cross. That's great. Double cross says pay 1 Solari and an opponent has to lose a troop in the conflict, and you get to deploy a troop. That could be like a little surprise attack of its own. He'd rather have the spice, I think, and have his options open over here. He'll take the 2 spice. Round 10. Oh, and green gets a defensive bonus, which I have not talked about. So when you're in control of a location and that location's conflict comes up, battle for Carthage, that means you get a defensive bonus that allows you to deploy 1 troop from your supply to the conflict directly if you'd like to. And green definitely wants to in round 10. 2 points, and control of Carthage is up for, so Carthage is up for grabs again. Not that it really matters. Control won't matter after this round. Ariana's up. Everybody's got to go all in. She only has 1 Solari and 2 water and no spice. But she does have a fair amount of combat strength here. She wanted to try to get, she's at 7 points. She wanted to get a Spice Must Flow card. She's got to go to Research Station. She will play the voice to go to Research Station. She'll resolve the voice. She will, it's not going to make that much of a difference. Everybody's got all their agents. She'll block Heighliners. What the heck? Just delays everybody by 1 turn. Oh, she got space travel and Stilgar. Excellent. Look at all that combat strength. She's looking good. She will deploy 2 troops. Helena. Oh, this is so close. She has no card that gets her to a faction. And she has plans within plans. She has got to remedy that. It needs to go to Research Station, but she only has 1 water, which means she has to go to Sietch Tabr. She is going to play the voice. Oh, she's going to block something else here. She will block rally troops for 1 set of turns. So this means that on her next turn, rally troops opens up again. On blue's next turn, Heighliner opens up again. So it doesn't have that, it's not as great an effect as you would like, but later in a round, it's a great effect when everybody only has one agent left. She's definitely deploying 3 troops. So he can't go to Heighliners. He can't go to rally troops. He's got 3 Solari. He needs 4 if he wants to go to rally troops. He's going to go to secure a contract. He'll play Dune the Desert Planet, and he'll get 3 Solari. Ariana, the Countess. She's being threatened here at the Spacing Guild. She's being threatened here at Bene Gesserit, for that matter. She does have space travel. She'll go to space travel, and she'll go back to Foldspace. Not that she could use the Foldspace card, but she needs the influence. She's at step 5 of the track. Helena just got water so that she can go to research station. She is playing her Signet ring. Not that that's going to help her. To go to research station. Doesn't matter. She got nothing really good. She got Guild Ambassador, but that's it. She still can't get to the factions. She'll deploy 2 troops. Heighliner is open for business. That's where the Duke's going. He is going with diplomacy to Heighliner. And he's not messing around. He is going to send in all troops. 7 troops. Dun, 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 dun. Wrong universe. The Countess. Last shot here. She's got enough for her. She's got 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 11. She's just going to make sure she doesn't play too much, give too much away here. She'll play her Signet ring. And she will go to Carthage and hope to God she gets a decent intrigue card. I think that's okay. That's a plot card. Yeah, she gets to recall somebody. She'll recall that. And she'll deploy the troop. Oh, I don't know if anybody's going to beat out green, though. Helena. Her 5 troops are not going to cut it, even with 4 combat strength, and you may deploy a troop. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 14, 16. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. He's already at 16 and probably has combat strength in his hand. She could get the Mentat. She's going to play Guild Ambassador. Oh. She can't play Guild Ambassador. But she only has 2 spice. But well, she's not going to get to 9 persuasion. So why can't she play Arrakeen's Liaison? Or Dagger, for that matter. Dagger she should hold on to. She's going to play Arrakeen's Liaison. to get the Mentat and hope she get a decent card. She got the Reverend Mother, which is not bad. It might not be enough, though. But she's got the Mentat standing by. The Duke's not getting to Spice Must Flow. So corner the market is not going to help him. If he plays Dr. Yua and goes to Arrakeen, he can get 2 cards. That might be something. And it gets him another troop. He got Dagger. Gene Manipulation helps him a little with Persuasion. But he's out of agents. He will deploy the troop. He is at 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19 combat strength. Plus he's got an ambush. He's got this locked up. There's no way. Ariana's last turn. Is there anything she could possibly do? She has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 persuasion. She really only needs 9, so all she could get away with would be playing a 1 persuasion card like Reconnaissance. She has no place to go with Reconnaissance. Fedaykin Death Commando. Everything else, I think, is 2, yeah. What could you do with this? This would give her 2 spice. She could harvest with this, I suppose. Or she could harvest with this. And just hope for a miracle card, I guess. I mean, she would harvest. Here, she has a water. She could get a card, a spice and a card. I suppose when she has no way of winning the battle, she could use this one. And then she'd have an extra. You know, what's the expert? If she's buying a Spice Must Flow, what's the point? All right, she's going to just go with Fedaykin Death Commando. Oh, she gets to trash a card with it. But that has no value at this point. It's the end of the game. So she'll harvest here and hope for a miracle card. Sure, we'll resolve it and not do anything with it. We're not going to trash, so cancel. And she gets Dagger. Oh well. It was a nice try. But she still has enough for a Spice Must Flow if that's what she wants. Red's last shot. Can Helena do anything? Well, first of all, she has Chome Shears. We got to remember to play that. So that's pay 7, Solari. She's got plenty to score a point. That brings her up to 8. Where does she stand? So right now, green is showing 18, and she's got 10, 13, she's got 14. She's lost the battle, which means she's going to end the game with what she has. If she revealed right now, if she lost the battle, she has 2, 4, 5, 7 persuasion, not enough to do anything. Okay, so revealing is not going to help. Guild Ambassador would increase Space and Guild by 1, getting it up to 3, which helps plans within plans. That would get her a point there. Okay, and then what would he do with the agent? He could send it to Hall of Oratory, which would leave her with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. She'd be short. She wouldn't get a Spice Must Flow. So she'd end with 9. Reverend Mother. Reverend Mother's agent box is interesting. It says if you have another Bene Gesserit card in play, which Helena does, the Voice is a Bene Gesserit card, then every other player has to discard 2 cards. And then what would she do with Reverend Mother? She Can't do anything at the Emperor. She could go to Selective Breeding because she has the 2 spice. She'd force everybody to discard 2 cards, and then she would draw 2. And she'd be left before drawing at 2, 3, 5. If she drew 2 cards, each of which had 2 persuasion on it, she'd be at 9. And the bump from Reverend Mother in Bene Gesserit would give her 1 point here. She'd get 1 point from the 9. She'd have 10 points. But that requires that she draw 2 cards, each of which has 2 persuasion on it. That's a tall order, probably, but I guess that's the only shot she has. So she is going to play Reverend Mother Moyeen, sending her to Selective Breeding. Countess is being asked to discard 2 cards. She's lost the battle, so she might as well get rid of Dagger. And Worm Riders wouldn't help her either. She's totally lost the battle. So she might as well keep her persuasion. She might have enough there for 9. I think I didn't count. And then Green would have to get rid of 2 cards. He only has 4 persuasion. The Dagger could help him in combat. This would give him a spice. Spice is the first tiebreaker. The tiebreakers in the game are spice, Solari, and water, in that order. He might as well hold on to that and hold on to that. He certainly can't get anything worth anything with 4, so he will get rid of the 2 cards with persuasion on it. Now she has to trash a card. She will definitely trash Signet Ring. She drew 2 and 1. She's short. She has 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, plus 2 is 8. She has 8 persuasion. That's a bummer. She's going to get 1 point from plans within plans. She'll end the game with 9. All right. Green's reveal turn. He's got nothing. He has double cross. He might as well play it. Now would be the time to do it. Recall, he pays 1 Solari, forces an opponent of his choice to lose a troop, and he deploys 1 troop from his supply. So he plays double cross. He clearly asks Helena to lose a troop. So red loses a troop. Green gains a troop. And with 2 persuasion, there's nothing he can do. He cancels. It is Ariana's reveal turn. So what did she have? And what does she end up with? She has 9 combat strength to Green's 21. She could get a Spice Must Flow. She would end the game with 8 points. That's a losing proposition. There is 1 Hail Mary. She could acquire cards from the cheapest to the highest in that order until she runs out of persuasion, looking for a card that has a good acquire benefit. There aren't that many. There's probably a half a dozen or so. What do they range in price from? I don't know, probably something like, maybe the cheapest is 5 and it gives you a water. Maybe it gives you 1 bump on an influence track. And maybe the most expensive is 8 or 9. I just don't remember. I mean, maybe you get a bump on an influence track. I mean, it's a Hail Mary she could try. I suppose she might be able to get to the one that costs 5. I just don't remember what it gives her. But talk about a Hail Mary. All right, what the heck? So she's at 9. She'll take Sardaukar infantry because you want to leave yourself with as much infantry persuasion as possible. No. She could take a Raucous Recruiter. Now she's down to 6. Nothing. I think at this point it's worthless. because now she'll be left with 3. The only thing she could, I mean, the only thing she's doing is now helping Helena. And, you know, maybe she wants to help Helena, you know, with her Hail Mary. She's not too happy with the Duke because he's been leading this entire game and she's been trailing this entire game. So maybe she'd like the women to rise up. It's a Hail Mary. Oh my God, it's a Hail Mary that just, it's an acquire benefit that bumps your influence in every faction. Oh my God, I didn't remember this card, or I know shown directorship. I didn't remember it was that powerful. Certainly doesn't help the Countess, but it could definitely help. It costs 8. I think Helena could afford that. Is there any point in taking a card? No, so she'll cancel. I mean, yes, she might have revealed something else, but I don't think there's anything better than that. Helena, Guild Ambassador. She doesn't have an alliance with the Space and Guild. That card does nothing for her. This gives her 3 combat strength. You can deploy a troop from your garrison. She has no troops in her garrison. She has 8 persuasion, and she ends up with 14 in combat strength. She's going to come in second. She certainly doesn't want him. He doesn't do anything for her. If she gets a bump in every track, so this does nothing for her. Here she gets an alliance and an intrigue card. That's a point. That gets her to 9. This gets her from 2 to 3. Now she's getting 2 points from plans within plans. Now she's up to 11, and that does nothing. It ties with green. This talk about a Hail Mary. This is going to be a squeaker. And now it's the combat phase. Red has Allied Armada. I've totally forgotten about Allied Armada. Or did she pick that up? Maybe she just picked that up. Did she? And she drew Allied Armada. Aha, she didn't have it then. But she has it now, but it doesn't help her because she doesn't have the 2 spice. So she can't do anything. She has to, you can't play it. I mean, it costs her 2 spice. You can't do anything with it. You can't even discard it. You got to hold on to it. So she cancels. Green could play ambush, but that would give Red another chance to play a combat card. Though if she had a combat card, she would have played it because she was behind. But there's no point in him playing ambush at this point because Blue doesn't have combat cards, and therefore, if he passes and Red passed and Blue has to pass, then nobody gets another chance to play a combat card. You'll only keep going in circles. If you pass during this part of the combat phase, if somebody else actually plays a card, you will get another chance to play a combat card. So the only time you might pass is if you were ahead in combat strength and you were first up. You might, if you had a good card, you'd pass to see what everybody else might have, and then you might play your card when it came back around to you. At this point, if green passes, everybody passes, and it's over. So green gets 2 points, bringing up to 10. Red gets... She gets another intrigue. Oh, and Red won the game with 11 victory points. It was a tie. She won on the tiebreaker. She got the 2 points from plans within plans. Green got 1 point from corner of the market because he had 1 spice must flow and he had 1 more than every other player. So he got 1 point for that. He didn't have 2, so he didn't get the 2nd point. So 11 to 11, and Spice is the tiebreaker, and Red pulls out a win. I swear to God, I couldn't have made that up. Wow, what an ending. Oh my God. Well, this was something. I hope you enjoyed this playthrough. I hope my play-by-play was accurate and worthwhile. And, I'm no expert in the game, as I said. So if anybody sees that I made any glaring mistakes or I didn't consider certain strategic elements that I probably should have, I would love to hear what you have to say. It would help me. It might help other beginners as well. Otherwise, please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, everybody, and bye-bye.